So in this tutorial, we're going to look at uploading data files of biotelemetry location data into Zoatrack. So the first thing, if you don't have a username and password, the first things you have to register. Pretty straightforward. We click on the register button and there's a pretty standard page. I'm not going to go through it. You all know how to register on websites, but just to point out again, if you're stuck on what certain things are, the little question mark next to the box will assist. So once you've registered, you can log in. Here's my login details. So I've logged in. You'll get your username, should appear up at the side there. And let's create a new project. Okay, so I'm just going to call this test 1 to be quick. Location, of course, let's call this Australia. You can be more specific. And when you come to the species name, this is important. If you're in Australia, all the species are within the database in Australia. So for example, if you took dingo, there it would give you all the species name, both plant and animal, that have dingo contained somewhere within the title. If we put a cassowary, we would get something like this with all the other titles, both plant and animal of cassowary in the title. So it's really auto-populated, and the reason why we do that is to prevent errors or typos, or sometimes people might call things by different names. The name of the animal, of course, is the primary key that other users of Zoatrack will use to search. So let's just click on this. Yep, let's just say we're talking about cassowaries. Okay, it populates that. If you're outside of Australia, the species that you're working with may not be in our database, and you can just click this little button here and this will manually override it and you'll be able to type in the name. Down here we have the spatial reference system. Again, we've included a number of details in here to assist you to select the correct spatial reference system. So what this is, this enables the geographic coordinates, which is what your device has recorded. The animal locations on the surface of the earth are in WGS84, and we need to project them into what we call a projected coordinate system, because we're going to measure animal distances and movement distances and space use on a flat screen. Okay, so this is the spatial reference system for Australia. You really need to go in there. We've given you the websites here and look for these international spatial reference system codes. You can type them in the box for your area. You need to tick this box if your animal crosses the anti-meridian. Okay, that's the east or west longitudinal line at 180 degrees. Only really affect if you're really looking at seabirds or fishes or sharks that traverse the Pacific Ocean there. Otherwise, don't worry about it. You can add publications. We can add other contributors. So we can say, okay, I want this somebody else to have access to my project, and they can add data. And this is a really good system of involving stakeholders and other collaborators. You can both work on a single project within the Zoatrack platform. All the copyright and license information is here. Again, this is directed to a website if you want more information in this. But within Zoatrack, we do ask for people to make projects open access, but we understand that data can be sensitive, or people doing PhD projects, so until you've published your data, you can delay the open access. But ultimately, the decision why Zoatrack differs from the likes of MoveBank is ultimately the data will go open access. The reason why we've set it up this way is so that people might just use the system. We provide a whole load of analysis tools, and you just forget about it, and the data is always locked up. So ultimately, the data will roll over into the public realm, and you can add copyright statements onto the project as well. So let's create the project. Here it is here. This is what the project page looks like once you've created it. We were talking about cassowary. It's just called test 4. We can add images. And then here's this, I'm the manager of the project, and we can assign other people read-only access. So we can go in here. This is Rostoir. Let's give him read access to our project. Or you can give them write access or manager access, different levels of access for different contributors or colleagues. Let's upload a data file. Okay, now uploading the data file is probably the biggest stumbling block when people use the Zoatrack platform. And that's primarily, the requests that we get are primarily because the format of the input file is not correct. Okay, we have enabled Zoatrack to recognize a number of different date time, a number of different file headers and date time formats, but of course the variations on that are almost infinite. So you have to make sure that your date time formats are in one of these formats, and your column titles follow the column titles that we see here. We've given you an example of a data file here with the animal ID, the date time string, longitude, latitude, and then for this particular example we're using the Argos class to filter the data. Okay, so really important that you check your file and make sure it matches with a usable format within the Zoatrack system. So we're going to choose a file from my computer. This is one I did earlier. Here's this cassowary tagging file. Text file, again we're calling this test 4. Now we can convert it to local time. Often telemetry devices record time within the Greenwich Mean Time, and then you can adjust this within Zoatrack so you can view your animal movements in real time or local time. So let's say we want to convert to local time, and let's upload the data file. So Zoatrack works on cloud-burst computing. So there we go, uploaded the file, 6,114 detections now into the system. And if we click on tracks and analysis, we can view those files. And in the next tutorial, we'll talk a little bit more about how we work on the analysis interface here within Zoatrack.